So I want to call the first person to the stage, Eric Doerr, VP Engineering Cloud Security, Google Cloud. Good luck.
Well, it's great to be here and great to be back in Tel Aviv again. Thank you all for not immediately going to lunch and hearing a few minutes of what we're doing at Google to make security operations better. And before I jump into that, the title of this is Reimagining Security Operations, or how Google is thinking about this. But it would be remiss if I didn't note, as Gabby Portnoy from the INCD talked about earlier in the day, the amazing collaboration we've had with his team in the INCD and working to reimagine how they think about protecting some of the Israeli infrastructure as part of the Cyberdome. It's been an amazing collaboration, and I would say they've helped us understand many things about what we can do to help other organizations reimagine security operations. But before I jump in, let me just very quickly about me. I'm Eric. What I do at Google is basically lead the engineering for all things security operations. So my job is to build tools that make you all more successful and make the world a safer place. And that's I take that very seriously. Google takes that very seriously. Previously, I worked at Microsoft. I had kind of a funny job at Microsoft. Half of my job was protecting Microsoft, leading the Azure Security Operations Center, the incident response team for Microsoft. So SolarWinds, WannaCry, Log4j, that was me and my team helping respond to that. And then the other half of my job was building tools. And I guess what I would say is, I saw how hard it was firsthand to defend against the threats that exist and the bad actors that are coming for all of us. And it really made it super clear to me that I needed to spend more of my time helping build the tools that will take us all to the next level. And so, in a nutshell, this is kind of our point of view on kind of the current world, and then where we think the world needs to move and where we're building a platform that can help take you all to this future. Security operations, if some of you are security operators or have security operator teams, you should go and give them a hug. Their jobs are hard. Many of their jobs suck today in many ways. And I think the reasons on the left are kind of a lot of why. It's a very reactive job, very people dependent, and those people aren't doing the beautiful things that only people can do. They're doing, in many cases, rote, kind of boring, tedious tasks. And so I won't read everything on the slide, but we see a world where we can push to the right in a profound way and change the way that security operations is done that's both more successful and more enjoyable for everybody. If you look at our journey, Google is relatively new to security as a business. Security is helping other people protect themselves. Obviously, Google has been protecting itself for a long time. This is a little bit of our journey around security operations. And I'd say there's 3 phases here, and just a nugget on each phase. 2017 to 2020, we really focused on getting, I'll say, the foundational layer. Security is a data problem, first and foremost. If you don't have the right data, you can't respond, you can't predict, you can't protect. And the reality is most organizations are not equipped with the tools and the platforms to have the data to be successful. We focused on that problem, but we started on top of 15, 20 years of high-scale data indexing, search, and we said, how can we take those capabilities, the places where Google has become very good at large amounts of data, sifting through large amounts of data and making it useful, and how can we take that and apply that to the problem of security? In the last couple of years, we broadened. People may have heard of the threat detection, investigation, and response, as people talk about, analysts or friends at Gartner. We made a number of acquisitions, fleshing out the story. And now, with generative AI and other advances, we're moving kind of into a new phase of where we can go even further. Last year was a year of acquisitions. If people didn't believe Google was serious about security, there's about 6 billion reasons on this slide why it's clear we're very serious about security. And it's been amazing welcoming these new teams to come together and become one Google. We are Mandiant, we are Google, and even we are Simplify, a local team in Tel Aviv who's become an amazing part of our team. But, oh, you can't read the left part of the slide. Oh well, it'll work. If you took one step back and said, okay, what does it look like? What is the 100,000-foot view of what a modern security operations solution looks like? We think it has these elements. And again, I won't read every one, but I'll hit on a couple highlights. If you don't have the frontline intelligence from fighting the worst of the worst adversaries every single day, and you don't have that feeding back into your threat intelligence, your threat research, your tools, your automation, your AI, I don't think you can build the best. I don't think you can be the best without that. If you don't have that data lake, if you can't actually store the real data, and this is where there's a mindset shift that has to happen. Because we talk to a lot of companies who say they've lived in a world of scarcity for so long that they think, oh yeah, I got to pick and choose what I bring in and what I do. And I don't want to bring in data that's not useful to the job. But a modern solution built on the right platform at cloud scale is a different game. I think you have to embrace that. And you have to have the partnership with people on the ground to help uplift teams, help give strategic readiness, and when the worst happens, come in and help respond if there's an adversary. All this has to come together with other elements too. And we think this is how we should be thinking about kind of modern security operations. But I want to drill into threat intelligence for a minute, because I think that it may not be obvious, because Mandiant, of course, everyone has heard of Mandiant. Mandiant is trusted by 75% of the Fortune 500 when the worst happens, does about over 1,000 incident response every year. It's about 100 happening at any given time. And we help a lot of people by doing that, but in the context of threat intelligence, we learn critical information about the new and novel techniques that are evolving, and we take that and feed that, again, into AI, into our automated systems, into the overall platform, so that the dream here is that while we can't prevent what the medical term would be patient zero, we're very focused on not letting patient zero spread to patient 1, 2, 10, 100, 1,000. But what's less obvious, because Google has not talked a lot about the other threat intelligence that we have. If you think about 5 billion devices protected by Google every day, you think about Chrome, the world's most popular browser, search, we have protections in all these products today. Just to take one, what we call safe browsing, which is the technology in Chrome. How many people have seen the red screen or know someone who's seen the red screen in Chrome that says this is a bad URL? Many people raising their hand. So that's safe browsing, saying we know that there's something bad here. And the other thing that maybe people don't think about is, if you're in an organization and you see that screen, it means every other control you have failed. But because we have the aperture of the internet and can see what's happening to Gmail users, YouTube, search, Chrome, we can protect a lot of people, and we do protect a lot of people every single day. But the derivative of that protection is actually threat intelligence. And now we're taking that threat intelligence and automatically connecting it to our security operations platform, so that you don't need to have someone sit and research and learn every bit of that. It's automatically connected to the platform and automatically looks at your data and understands where you have threats that we know about with that aperture. Another example here, Mandiant has some of the best threat researchers in the world. Google had some of the best threat researchers in the world. Of course, we're now all working together. right? That's not interesting. What is interesting is to think about that each of these teams was sitting on top of a set of information, a set of data. And now we're bringing those data sets together so that we can collectively protect both Google, the company, and the customers of Google, but also with our enterprise products that we can protect people better. And so in a very small example of this, the safe browsing example that I gave, there's a data store for all of that data. And now the Mandiant analysts, the people doing research on actors, have access to that. And it's allowing them to find connections that even with all that they had before, they couldn't find before. And so this is kind of one of the things we're very excited about, is kind of the fusing of the potential and the talent of and the technology of these companies. But of course, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about AI. In a session yesterday, Gavi Portnoy, who I mentioned earlier, said we need every 3 minutes say something about AI. I don't know if I've done it every 3 minutes, but what we announced in April at the RSA conference was our vision and the first launch of what we were doing with generative AI for security. And in a nutshell, what this is the first security customized LLM that is a platform that is available for customers and partners. We announced at RSA that Accenture was our first design partner last week. I think it was last week. We announced another dozen partners in the security community, like CrowdStrike and SentinelOne and others, who are now working with us, taking advantage of the platform we're building it and extending it and using it in their products. But it's important to note, this is all built on all of the depth that Google has in AI. And I'd say Google is what I call the only full stack AI company right now. By full stack, I mean, we've talked a lot about the chips that we build that are customized for AI and the benefits that that gives us. Of course, we have the hosting infrastructure with GCP. We have Vertex AI, which is an enterprise-grade platform that enables developers and customers to come and design their own AI solutions. And that's not something that launched 5 minutes ago. Vertex AI launched several years ago. And as we've been building that, we've been building the enterprise-grade controls for things like, I don't want my data to go back to Google. Great. You can put the data in the model, give you the protection, and give you the power of those tools with complete control of your data, just as an example. But then we've built the security on top, training it with, the things on the left, a subset of the many things about security that we've trained the model, and of course, built into our products, but also extended with partners and customers. And so we're very excited about how this can fuel and supercharge a lot of the security operations workloads, take some of the toil out, help us combat threats. And with that, it's great giving you a little glimpse of what we're up to at Google. Very exciting to be working with many of you in the audience, and I hope to connect with more of you as the week progresses. Thank you.